Welcome to the Black Educated Tea Podcast. I'm your host, Makeda Marie, and today's topic is breaking old habits. But, as always, before we get into the tea, let's get into this tea. So I'm actually drinking a Goddess tea today by Oasis Vibe. Really good tea. Because it does have a mixture of a lot of different teas in it, benefit-wise, I drink it without any honey, any agave, any sugar, or anything. But I suggest when you try it, definitely add a little bit of honey, sweeten it up or whatever. But for me, since I can drink teas without, any sweetener in it, I just drink it the way it is, and it tastes totally fine to me. People love it because of the benefits, but they tend to say, oh, it's a little bitter, so I can stand to put some sugar or, some agave or honey in it. But drink it however you like. Really, really good tea. Some of the best benefits it is with the elderberry and the motherworth and the shepherd's purse. Just so many different teas in it. Like I said, I love it. And I drink it often. So I'm drinking Goddess tea by Oasis Vibe. So breaking habits. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. When you all learn, when you figure out, can you tell me how to break habits? You just being honest. Because there are just some habits I cannot break from. And then there are some habits that I have let go and, released. And that's the best way to say it. Release myself from those habits. I no longer, do those habits. And there are just some habits I cannot let go. Like coffee. I don't even think it's a habit anymore. I think it's just, it's a routine. It's a part of my life now. A cup of coffee in the morning, and I don't have to have it no more. Like some people, it's 12 o'clock, they get another cup of coffee. 2 o'clock, I'm not that person. I even have a time frame I'll drink my coffee. So it might be between 7 and 10. It's probably around about the time I drink my 1 cup of coffee, and I'm done. It's very rarely that I will drink 2 cups of coffee. And if I do, maybe I'm traveling and I just got to have that, extra boost of caffeine. So I'll get another cup of coffee, and I pay for it later because I can't sleep and I'm just jittery and all over the place. So coffee, I don't even think it's a habit at this point because it's just a part of my life now. But, there's just some habits that we cannot shake no matter how hard we try, no matter what we do. And then some habits are not, some habits can be good, some habits can be bad. And, my thing, too much of anything is not a good habit. I don't care what it is. Too much of anything is just not good for us. And it could be, that's definitely a habit. And then you have habits that are just detrimental to us. And you have the habits that are not so much. For me, like I say, caffeine and coffee is definitely a habit of mine. Procrastination is also, I'm still working on it. I'm getting better. I'm definitely getting better on that. But procrastination is definitely a habit that I am so trying to break. I am really so trying to break this habit. And it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes staying consistent. Because breaking habits are not easy. You can wake up one day and say, I want to break this habit. I just no longer want to do this anymore. And it's one thing to say it, but when you're actually trying to break that habit, it is so difficult. Just think of someone that has been drinking alcohol for years. And, they're addicted to it at that point because, at times we become addicted to our habits. And, drugs and alcohol is definitely one of those things that we become addicted to. So, you can just wake up one morning and you're like, I don't want to drink anymore. It's easier said than done. It takes preparation. It takes effort. It takes time. It takes, group sessions. It takes motivation. It takes help from others. So there's so much that comes into just breaking habits. And, we say we want to go cold turkey. And if we do, a lot of times you can pick that habit right back up. Because I've done that. I remember a time that I actually did stop drinking coffee. I think I just actually went cold turkey on it. And then I just picked it right back up because it was something so familiar to me. It was, it was my go-to. So it was so easy for me to pick it back up, because I guess I thought I went cold turkey, which I probably did for a little bit, but it was so easy for me to pick it back up because I wasn't fully over it yet. So breaking habits is not easy. It's not easy at all because it's like your go-to. It's your comfort zone. It's something that's comfortable to you. So it's so easy if you do stop it to go back to it. And so for some of the habits that I was able to break, and I spoke on it before, is, like boundaries, just creating boundaries. That was a terrible habit that I didn't have boundaries for myself, internally, externally. I didn't have any type of boundaries. And so that was a habit that I had to break and build that wall that consists of having boundaries. And it wasn't easy. It takes years to create, boundaries. It takes years to break habits and create new things. If you've done something for so long, if you had a certain way you think, if you have a certain way that you drive, if you have a certain way that you eat, if you have just a certain way that you sleep, whatever it is, it's so hard to break it because that's what you're used to. So you have to give yourself time to slowly break those habits, and don't be so hard on yourself. It's been 2 weeks and I still can't shake that feeling, and I can't. It's 2 weeks. It took you years to build this habit. So why do you think in 2 weeks you're going to be able to say, you know what, I'm completely healed from this? And it just give yourself time. If it took you 20 years that you've been doing the same habit and the same thing, why do you think in 2 weeks that you can just be completely, no involvement in it and just heal from it? So give yourself time with breaking habits. And a good way to break habits sometimes is removing people. Because some people you may have around you, some of the things that they're doing helps you to continue to participate in those habits as well. So sometimes you have to get rid of the people and the people in your circles as well in order to get rid of those. First, improve your habits and then to get rid of them. Because if you are an alcoholic and you're hanging with people that are alcoholics 9 or 10 times, it's hard for you to break that habit. Because every time you're around them or every time you all go and hang out, guess what you're going to do? You're going to have something to drink. So minimize the time that you spend with them. You can still love them from afar. But, if you get to that point, you're like, look, I got to get my health together. And, we're just no longer drinking drinks for the fun of it, to celebrate. I mean, we drinking back to back to back every day. And, yeah, I can just feel the effects it's having on my body. You don't even have to explain that to them. You can or you don't have to. But you really need to distance yourself from them if you want to improve your habit of not drinking as much, not partying as much, not sexing as much. Whatever it is, whatever your habit is. Because like I said, we all have habits. We all have habits. Some are just worse than others because of the effects that it has on our bodies. People pleasing is a habit. Wanting to please people. That's, a habit that I'm working on. I'm decreasing it as much as I can, but it takes time because I have done it for so long with trying to people please people. So that is a habit I'm trying to break. And habits come in all types and in all forms. So I may have one habit, someone else that might not be a habit for them. They're like, it's easy for me to say no, not be a people pleaser. For me, that's still difficult. It's still something I struggle with. For some people, coffee, I don't have to have coffee. But like coffee, because I don't drink as much of it, so it's not harmful to me. But if it's something that at some point, if I'm like, I do want to lay off the caffeine some, then it is a habit that I need to slow back on. So instead of a cup of coffee every day, maybe every other day. Or even try to do, I'm not doing decaf coffee, I'm just going to be honest. I just won't drink coffee at all. If I got to do decaf, I'm just not. I'm good on decaf. I don't want decaf coffee. So maybe just decrease it to every other day. Switch up the brands that has, less caffeine in it. So there's still ways around it as well without trying to go cold turkey on something. Because habits are hard to break. We are human beings. And when we do stuff that's repetitive and when we do stuff that's second in nature to us and when we do things that we have done for years, it's comfortable for us. So it's hard to break it. Although habits are hard to break, they can be broken. and you can change them. But it's up to you to want to change those habits to something else. So whatever that negative habit is that you have, you can easily change it to a positive, but it's up to you to change it. No one else can do it for you. No one else. They can be supportive. They can be your motivation. They can tell you what you need to do, but you have to be able and willing to change that habit or just stop it completely. And like I said, it takes hard work, it takes dedication, and it takes you willing to put in the work and the time to do it. Because it's not going to always be easy. And then sometimes for us as humans, if we see that something becomes too difficult, we like, it's just easier to keep up this habit than to stop it. It's too hard to not do it. So for some people, that's their excuse. It's too hard. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. It's too hard to stop this habit or to stop doing this. So I'm just going to continue to do it. And to me, that's just not an excuse. It's not an excuse at all. Anything worth having is going to be hard. So just be willing to put in the work and just know that it's going to be hard. There's going to be days that you do want to give up, but just keep going forward. No matter what the habit is, big or small. Every habit has its threshold, and every habit is different for everybody, and everybody has different habits. None of us have the same habits. But if you know that it's a habit that you want to change, that you want to break, that you no longer want to be a part of, then change it. Be willing to change that habit. Be willing to put in the time to make yourself better, because you know that this habit is just no longer fitting you. I would just love to hear your thoughts, your comments. What habits do you have? What habits are you want to break? What habits do you want to change? What habits do you want to undo? A lot of habits are learned habits as well. So what habits do you want to change and undo and just move forward? And as always, this is the Black Educated Tea Podcast.